right, I'm going through the lesson 11 exit ticket. So the first question says, will the answer to the problem negative 8.58 plus 1 be negative or positive? Please explain how you know. Well, I could totally do this, but there are some decimals. I don't want to actually do it. I just want to figure out if it's negative or positive. So I remember that when you're adding a negative number plus a positive number, the sign, whether it's negative or positive, of the answer is the sign of the bigger of the two numbers. So 10 is bigger than 8. So I know that the sign of 10, which is positive, will be the sign of the answer. Let me see if I can write a better explanation than what I just said. I know the answer will be positive because 10.41 is bigger than 8.58, and 10.41 is positive. So the answer will be positive. Okay, that's the first one. We're going to actually use that in the next two. So this says negative 110 plus 12, and I just have to answer it. So when I have a negative number and a positive number, the first thing I need to do is subtract them. So 110 minus 12. I could do this in my head or out. I'm going to talk through how I do it in my head. I would split 12 up into 10 and 2, do 110 minus 10 is 100. 100 minus 2 is 98. Now the question is that negative or positive? Well, it's negative because 110 is bigger than 12. So our answer here is going to be negative 98. This one, same idea. 7 plus a negative 13. They're different signs. One's positive, one's negative. So I'm just going to subtract them. So 13 minus 7 is 6, and it's going to be a negative 6 because the 13 is negative, and that's our bigger number here. Okay, now I have two negative numbers. When I have two negative numbers, I add them, and the answer is negative because it's like on a number line. You start at 0, you go to negative 52, and then you go 12 more in the negative direction, and you add them up. So 52 plus 12 is 64. And it's a negative 64 because they're both negative. Let me solidify these rules down here. In general, what do you do when you add two negative numbers together? You add the absolute value, which is just like the positive version of the numbers, and then make it negative. Which is just what I did here. I did 52 plus 12 is 64, and it's negative because they're both negative. In general, what do you do when you add one negative and one positive number together? Okay, first, you subtract the two numbers. And then the answer is positive if the bigger number is positive, and negative if the bigger number is negative. All right, that's it. Just like always, if you feel good about this, great. If you're still confused, head to the Learn section of Lesson 11. And if you're still confused, email me and I'll help you out. You can also come to office hours and ask questions about this.